Hello, today we're going to go through the processes of setting up a web server. There's quite a few different processes that's going to be going on here, and I'll try and do them in order. So the first thing I'm going to do is create a server to store all the website. So create a server to store the website. Now you could store a website on your home personal PC, but I'm going to create a server that's dedicated to this task. And I'm going to use Microsoft Azure. Now, Azure is like Microsoft's cloud-based service that allows you to do many different things. One is to create virtual machines. So we're going to create a virtual machine in Azure. Okay, what else do we need? Well, we'll need to set up any kind of the network really to point everything towards this machine. So configure the network settings. What else are we going to do? Well, once we've got everything configured with the network pointing towards this machine, we are going to then use a service to be able to point to the website within internally the machine. And what we're going to use is something called Microsoft IIS. So we're going to configure Microsoft IIS. Yeah, you can use something like Apache for Linux. I've used Microsoft IIS before. Then we're going to use a service to upload any details of the website. It's going to create a FTP service. And I'm going to show you how to do it with FileZilla, free to use. Microsoft has its own FTP, but I'm going to use that FileZilla myself. Okay, next we're going to have a look then at our domain name. So obviously with the websites you need a domain name. I've got one myself, which is witsoms.co.uk. So I'm going to point this, show you how you can create a domain name, and then I'm going to point this towards the Azure service IP address, and then you should be able to see the website. I think off the top of my head, have I missed anything out here? Also, we are going to set up a background MySQL database. Now, if you have a web server, a lot of the web services will be running on MySQL or some database service. So we're going to put MySQL, which is free. And finally, we might have a look at creating maybe a WordPress installation of a website. So, if I can spell correctly, installation. So those are the things that we're going to go through today. It's going to take a bit of time. It's probably going to take about half an hour to go through all of it. But we'll start off with the with Microsoft Azure. So Microsoft Azure is in a service provided by Microsoft. Now there is a free service that you can take advantage of. So if you just put Azure start for free, and then in here what it'll give you is really, it says 12 months, but really it gives you about a month for free, and it'll give you £150 of credit for that month as well to create your own services. So if you want to have a look at that, you can try Azure for free. One thing you will need for this though, you will need a credit card, but they won't charge you for anything on it until that you actually give them permission and say yes, please pay for this. So nothing's going to start off automatically, so it's pretty foolproof, but you will need a card to be able to set this free account. Okay, we are now logged on to Microsoft Azure. You can see here my current cost is £79. So I'm going to spend some more money now and create a new virtual machine. So we can go up to the menu at the top, and then what we're going to do is create virtual machines. Click on here, and I've got a few test ones set up already. Well, let's add another one. So click on add, and then we're going to go through the basics. You're going to be using a free trial. I'm going to be using a resource group that I already have called General. If you haven't, just create a new one, call it General, whatever you want. create a new machine name. I'm going to call it Webserver 1. Okay, I've changed it back from West Coast to the East Coast. Again, just make sure you select a location that will have servers available. Then we can go into size here. At the moment, it's got one virtual CPU and 3.5 gig of memory, of RAM. I'm going to change this. I'm going to make it larger. Yeah, let's go for the £274 one. I'm going to use an 28 gig of RAM, 4 virtual CPUs. So this could be extremely quick, but the reason I'm doing this is it's going to be quicker when we set it up. I can always demote it to a smaller size after I've set everything up. Okay, press this. I'm going to click on select. Okay, that's done. And then put username in, get in, password. Has to have a capital, so put a capital A. Has to have numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0. Has to have a special character, exclamation point. There we go. It's happy with that. Put the same in for the confirm. I would recommend that you save your password into maybe a notepad file so you don't lose it and forget it. I'm going to allow a remote desktop connection in, so that's the port for remote desktop access. Do I already have a Windows Server license? No, I don't. Next, we're going to choose disks. Not bother saving that. I'm going to use a premium SSD. Don't really need one. Let's put a standard SSD in. We can see that just mentioning the difference between standard and premium. I'm going to ask to add a data. There's a really small disk, so it's giving me a terabyte. I don't need the terabyte. Let's put 4 gig in. That's fine. It's okay on that. Let's then move on to networking. We can see on here now it'll give us a virtual network. I've got a general VNet. I'm going to add it onto my web server VNet. If you haven't got one, just create a new one. Again, you can call it general. Use the default subnet. I'm going to have a public IP address, and everything else is okay on default. Yes. Next to management, you've got a few options here. One is the auto shutdown. You only pay for when it's on, so if you auto shut down, it'll save you some money. But obviously, if you want a web server, you want it on all the time, so I'm going to keep that on off. Advanced, that can stay. We'll go generation 2, sounds better than generation 1, has a few extra features, so we'll select that. Tags are just to organize, so I don't need to put anything there. Let's review and create. So this is going to cost me 9 pence an hour, so that's not too bad, but we'll bring that spec down a bit eventually. So just review that. Premium SSD, yep, that's fine. So create, and this will take a few minutes just to create. So it'll initialize deployment. It'll try and initialize about 4 separate elements, which will bring up now, and we'll bring back the video when these have been completed. Okay, as we can see, your deployment is complete. So let's have a view now of our virtual machine that we've just created. So you can see that it is Webserver 1, it is running. We can see that it's got a public IP address and it's got a private IP address. So that's its internal IP, that's its external IP address. So now we're just going to click on the external IP address, and what I'm going to do is going to change it from a dynamic IP address to a static one. This means that we will be able to point its domain name records towards this IP address if we change it to static. If it's dynamic, it's going to change every time it restarts. So I'm going to change it to static. Press save on that, and it is going to take just a few minutes just to save that public IP address. Oh, there we go, nice and quick, it's done. So I'm going to go back now to the overview screen of our server, and so this is the overview screen of the IP address. Here's the overview screen of the server. Now, we've got here connect. This allows you to connect, actually view that server. I'm going to do it via remote desktop connection, so we're going to click on RDP. So this will download an RDP file onto your computer, Webserver 1, and we're going to open the file and connect. So when it comes to here, go to more choices and use a different account. Put a / over here. The reason I'm putting / is that I don't want to use this local domain Microsoft account. I want to use the whatever domain has been used by that server, and put the username in, which is again, and I'm going to put the password in, which is A123456789 exclamation mark. Press OK on that. This is to show the certificates. This is a good sign. That means you're onto the server. It's not asked again. Let's just trust the certificate. Press yes, and I'll configure the remote session. And we can see now a black screen's coming up, and slowly but surely we can see it logging on to Windows Server 2012. It will go through a few setup things. It will take a few seconds because it's the first time that anybody is logging into this server. We can see now, so just off the screen it does say Windows Server 2012. And the Server Manager screen is going to come up at the start here. Server Manager screen is quite important, as it allows us to add roles and features. And that's what we're going to start off with really, is we're going to add the IIS role, as it's not there as default. So I'm just going to minimize this and go back to our screen here. Now, if we have a look at the bottom here, if I bring my list of things to do, at the moment we have just done this setting. The network settings we're going to do in a bit, but I'm going to jump to 3 now, which is configuring IIS. So we've done that, so let's move forward. So let's just bring the screen up. Okay, so we're going to add roles and features. And we're going to go next. So we're going to do a role-based or a feature-based installation. Yes, that's what we're going to do. So next. Select the server from the pool of servers. Well, that's the only one we've got. Now we can see all the different roles which are or features which are available. We can see one which is Webserver IIS. And that's exactly what I want. So I'm going to click on IIS. I'm going to add those features. As we can see here, there's a DNS server, DHCP server there as well. Don't really need those because we're only going to be using this as kind of a web server. But if you're using this as a general server controlling other machines and devices, then that's ideal. Okay, we're going to go next. I'll add some of the roles here. There's nothing else that we need to add from here. Just going to click on next. Next. They give you some of the things that it recommends. FTP service, one of them. I am not going to do that because I am going to use FileZilla. So next on that and install. Again, this will take a few seconds to install, so we'll come back when it does. Okay, IIS has finished installing, so we're going to click close on that. Now let's have a look to see if we've got IIS on here. So we can see that IIS, Internet Information Services Manager, we can see it's there. That new service that we've just installed is there. Oh, there we go. So I'll go through this in a bit. But this is what's used really to point any websites coming into your server to point towards the correct file locations. So first thing we can do on this server is have a look at our files and just create an area that we can store all our files. So we've got temporary storage and we've got C drive. Let's put it onto the C drive here. And let's just create a new folder. We'll call it web. and we're going to create a new test site. So if you've got hundreds of websites, you could put all of them in here in different subfolders, each for different websites. And what IIS's role is going to be is to point the DNS of any incoming traffic towards the relevant folder. So we'll come back to that later. So IIS is installed. One thing I do like to do when you're configuring the server is to configure this local server, and you should be able to see in here that we'll have something called where is it? Oh, here it is, IE Enhanced Security Configuration. First thing I always do is take this off, because it drives me mad. It basically gives a warning for every web page that you go on. So I'm going to take that off. Right, so minimize this, and we'll go back here just to have a look at the screen. So we've done the configuration of IIS, good. So next is to create an FTP service with FileZilla. So we're going to do steps 2 and 4 really together now. So to start off with FileZilla. So FileZilla is a way of transferring files to this web server, and you can set it up for multiple different users to be able to transfer files to it. So open back up the web server, and we can see now what I'll do on here is just open it up fully. Can't quite see everything, so scroll down. There we go. Okay, so just going to open up Internet Explorer, and then I'm just going to download Internet Explorer. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to download the FileZilla server. So with FileZilla there's a client and a server. The client is for the users to upload files to the server or download files from the server. But what I'm going to download here is the server version. So let's just go to Google. Sorry, Bing. And I'm going to look for FileZilla. And you can see that server download. Ideal. So this is free to use. I will download the FileZilla server for Windows. Okay, we can see an issue here. It's downloaded FileZilla server, but can't be able to run the file. Can't seem to be able to run it. So what we can do is we can simply rename it. It's an exe file, but it's just stripped the exe out of it. So rename it, and there we go. It recognizes it now. So we'll run that. Agree. Just go with the default. Again with the default. Just make a note of that 14147 and install. Okay, so that has completed now. Please enter the address and port of the FileZilla service you want to administrate. So we'll just keep it at localhost. We'll keep it as 14147, and we can put the password in as well. We'll do the same as the server A. And connect. So it'll always come up with these error messages at the start. So you appear to be behind a NAT router. Please configure the passive mode settings and forward the range of ports in your router. So we'll have to do some changes within our configuration of the network in Azure to sort that out. And warning, FTP over TLS is not enabled. Users cannot securely log in. Okay, so let's go over here to start off with to have a look at a list of the users. At the moment we haven't got any, so let's add a user. I'll just add Geraint. Okay. Give myself a password. Again, I'm going to keep the same one. Okay, bypass shared folders. So what I'm going to do is add a folder here, which is going to be the web folder that we created before. Press OK on that, and we see it's got a H next to it, so that means it's the home directory. I'm going to give this user the ability to write, append, create, and delete, so it can do anything like you would on a normal user. Now, you might want to give different users just the ability just to upload files. Okay, so you just have maybe the read or write, but you won't be able to delete or append. Okay, so we've got a user there. Press OK on that. I'm going to go to server and edit and settings. There's a few things we need to change in the settings. So FTP over TLS settings, these need to be changed. So we're going to enable FTP over TLS, and we're going to get a private key file. So it's going to I haven't got a key at the moment, so we're just going to generate a new certificate. 2-digit country code, UK. Doesn't really matter what you put in here. Organization test. Okay, we'll make sure we save it into a sensible file. Documents, yeah, we'll just create a new folder in there called keys. Save it into there. Save. Okay, generate certificate. Okay, that's sorted. And we've got port there 990. Okay, as default. We need to also set the passive mode setting, and we're just gonna click on here, and we're gonna get some ports in there. We're gonna put that port that we told you about, so the 14147. Put it to 14147. We're going to use the following IP, so that's going to be our IP address for our server. So the public IP is here, 1368.184.101. We'll put that in. So 13.68.104.101. Can't remember. Oh, there it is. Yeah, 1368.184.101. And we'll occur that. And there we go. Listening ports change, creating listening ports. Okay, so it should be happier now. We just need to redirect some of the ports. Okay, we're back in Azure now, and we're going to use our networking here to change some of the inbound rules. So these are to enable some of the services to go into the server. So we're going to start off here, and we can see here the priority is how high up the rule. So the lower the number, the priority, the higher up the rule, and it'll take precedence over other rules. So there's a few ports that we need to make sure are coming into the server. So we're going to go inbound ports, and what is it? Create add an inbound port rule. So in this rule, source can be anywhere. Don't really care. What we really care about is the destination port ranges. So what we're going to do is we're going to put in, first of all, for any internet traffic, so it goes into the server. So we're going to put port 80. This can be TCP. And we're going to allow that. I'm going to put that as high priority. Let's put 10 on that. Sorry, 100. We're going to give it a name of port 8080. That's fine. We'll add that. So there's our first rule. Next rule that we're going to have in there is for HTTPS traffic, because we also need to put that in. So 80 is HTTP traffic. HTTPS is going to be 443. So we'll add 443 onto an inbound port. So we're going to call that source NE, destination NE, port 443. We should probably best to give it a sensible name, HTTPS. I'll put priority 105. There we go. And that. So we've got a couple of rules on. Now we're going to have a look at putting the rules in for FTP. So we're going to have a look for we need both the FTP port to start off with, so we'll start off with that port. So add an rule. The port number for FTP traffic is 21. So we'll just give it a sensible name, FTP. And we'll put that on, we'll change that to we'll put that as any. Okay, so we're creating that rule now. I'm just going to edit the HTTPS just to be TCP. And save. Oh, one thing I didn't change was the priority for the FTP, so we'll have a look at that now. FTP, you just put the priority a bit higher up. Let's just put 110. There you go. Okay, there's two more rules that we need for the FTP. And these are any protocols, and these are to allow for that for the TLS security for the for FileZilla. So we are going to go now onto a new one. I'm just waiting for this to update. If you can remember those port numbers, one's 14147 and the other's port 990. So we're going to add those inbound port rules. So again, we can actually put a comma to separate because these are going to be used just by FileZilla. Any, we're going to put down a rule for FileZilla. Put a priority there, 15. Actually, I'm going to put them slightly above the FTP 108 and add that. You see there's an exclamation point against RDP because you don't really want to allow anybody into RDP. The best way to secure it up is by looking for what's your IP address. So you can go, what is my IP? And we can have a look here. What's my IP? And it should give me the my public IP address. I'll copy that back to Azure, and we can go here and just say, instead of going allow anybody, we're going to say, well, let's just allow the source, to be the IP address. Type in that IP address there. So now it's only going to allow traffic from my external IP address, which is unique just for my house. Okay, now once these have been specified, everything should be pointing into your server that needs to be. But what we will have to change is the internal firewall on the server. So we're just going to go back onto the server now. Okay, and we're going to bring up Windows Firewall. So again, I'm just going to... Oh, hold on, I just need to bring the server back up. There we go. Still just trying to bring the big screen up. There we go. Okay, so we'll just type in firewall. And it's just off the screen here, but it'll be Windows Firewall with Advanced Security. And this will bring up the Windows Firewall. We need to go to inbound rules now, and we need to create basically those rules for the FTP. No need to bother with the HTTP, that will be all sorted. So we're going to create a new rule, and we're going to just create it for ports here. So next, which ports do we need? 14147, we need 21, and we need 990. So again, just commas between them will be fine. We're going to allow these connections, and we're just going to give it a name, FileZilla FTP. finish, and there we go, we've got a new role. So everything should be okay now for FileZilla to work from a remote client. So I'm just going to open up FileZilla on my machine here. So I'm going to open up the application, and we're going to put the host in. So that's the IP address of the host. So that's 13.68.184.101. Username which I set up was Geraint, and the password was the same password I've used every time. Switch back. Let's try the quick connect. Let's verify the signature. We're going, yeah, always going to trust that one. And there we go. We're in, and we can see here the test site. So if I want to upload something from my PC, let's just put something for a test. Let's put the WJC A-Level Computer Science Teacher's Guide. Teacher's Guide? Is there a teacher's guide? No, there was a Teacher's Guide. Let's try that. GC Computer Science. Let's try this. Upload it up there. And we can see they're transferring file, and there it is. So if I go into the server now, onto the server, and hopefully if we have a look now, and there it is. There's that file that I've just uploaded. So there's the FTP working. So let's just state that over here. So if we can just bring this up, and we can see here we've created an FTP service with FileZilla. Great. Step 4 done. So we've still got a few more steps to go. We've also done configure the network settings. Yeah, that's all been done. We'll have a look next at the domain name to be able to point that towards our new web server. Okay, next we're going to have a look at the domain name. So I've gone to my FastHost account here, and we can see that I've got the domain name wittems.co.uk. So if I click on that domain, it should be in here, namesavers, GUI record, advanced DNS. I'm going to configure the advanced DNS. Just sorry, if I go back there, we can see here the name servers. So these are the name servers. This is the first place that a service will go to check a domain name. So if I was to check www.wittems.co.uk, the first check I'll check is the live DNS name servers, which are the DNS name servers for FastHost. And then we'll have a look at these advanced DNS to see where to go. So we can see here we've got a couple of A records for tests and WP. So this is test.wittems.co.uk and wp.wittems.co.uk. Let's add another A record. So this is for this tutorial here. So what.wittems.co.uk, well, we can put this as let's call it tutorial. I'm going to point that towards the our static IP address, which I can't remember, but I'll bring it up. So our static IP address is over here. So just copy that, and we'll point that there. Save that, and it will state that it, as it always does, may take 24 hours to take effect. From what I've found, it usually takes about 5 minutes. How can you check it? Well, you can do a quick ping of it to see if it points to the command prompts. There we go. Do a ping of the tutorial.wittems.co.uk, and if it brings up the correct IP address, so tutorials. What did I create? Tutorial. Okay. So if it brings up the correct IP address, then let's have a look. We'll just ping that. And we can see already bringing up that IP address, so that's already been configured. So if I go to tutorials.wittems.co.uk, so into the browser here. Go.uk, and we can see what it'll actually bring up is our IIS system, because I haven't told it to point that towards anything as of yet. So let's go and configure IIS. So go into the web server and we'll just open up IIS, which should have open already. No. Again, it's not bringing up my whole screen, so I'm just going to try and minimize and maximize. Nothing else yet. There we go. Okay, so is IIS. Sorry, that's the firewall. There's IIS. What we can do here is go to site. As you can see, there's a default website that's already been set up, but we're going to create a new website. I'm going to call this tutorial. Returns.co.uk. We're going to point to where that website is stored now. So it's going to be stored in web. And let's create a new folder. I would call it tutorial. Okay. I will put the IP address as this local machine, and we'll just copy tutorial.webserver.co.uk into here. Start the website immediately. Okay. Now we're going to use our FTP to help us out here now. So at the moment, as you can see, absolutely nothing there. If I refresh this now, nothing there at all. Access is denied. So let's have a look now on our FTP client. So FileZilla. If we refresh this, just connect it again, both the previous connection, and we can see that we've got the tutorial. So what we can do is we can create a HTML page, and we can upload it and put it into our tutorial page. So let's have a look now. Open up Notepad, new file. We'll save that. Password. So we'll just do a nice HTML file here, very straightforward. Just gonna put welcome to the site as that in our body. And we're just gonna put a H1 tag here, nice heading. Tutorial site. Okay, we'll save that. I'm just going to save it in documents as HTML file or files. And we're just going to call it index. Your main page in HTML should be called index or main. It will automatically go and try and find those files. So save that. We'll go into FTP now, and what we're doing now is uploading this from my local machine. So I'll go to documents, and it should have that index.html, and I'm going to load that, upload it up to my tutorial website. So if I refresh this now, there we have it. We have our websites that I've just uploaded available on the web for everybody in the world to see. Incredible content, revolutionary I might call it. Okay, we'll next move on to the final step, and that is using MySQL installed on the server, and also maybe creating a WordPress site. Okay, the next step is to install the Microsoft Web Platform. So we're going to just go to Internet Explorer, and we're just going to do a search for Microsoft Web Platform installer. Now, this is a really handy tool that'll give you lots of different installations of different programs that you might need on a web server. So I'm just going to run that straight away. Accept the terms, and this shouldn't take too long. Okay, so that is done. We can then just go and search for that, and it has come up on the right hand side here. So I'm just going to run the web platform installer. Now with this we can install some Azure services. There's lots of other products and applications available as well. Let's have a look at the applications that we've got here. You can also do a search here in the top right, or you can even just use the menu on the left hand side here. That will give you some of the popular choices. So you might be looking at installing blogs, and these are some of the common ones, common applications for helping to install blogs. CMS, content management system, again some of the popular ones. Or maybe you're looking to run e-commerce websites, again some of the popular ones. We're going to have a look at, let's have a look for MySQL. We've got here a lot of different MySQL installations. Let's put on the latest one, 5.5. We can see some of the other programs that may be run alongside that need the MySQL database, such as Joomla. Probably Wordpress is going to be in there as well. Let's just try some actually. Let's put in Wordpress. See if it'll install. There we go, WordPress. See if it'll install MySQL for us. So we'll add that and install. So here we're looking for the default database admin account for the root for the MySQL database. Again, I'm going to use the same password. Obviously, if you're doing this for real, then I would recommend to use the same password for everything. But just for this demonstration, we'll be using the same password that I've done throughout. Continue. Oh, here we go. So it is going to put MySQL on there as well. Ideal. Let's accept that. So it's installing the components required by IIS, and this is going to take a bit of time now just to download, so we'll pause the video there. Okay, that's finished installing, and it's automatically come up with this wizard here. You can see we're still in the web platform installer. So it's asking us now to install and configure. So you can see here is connected to IIS. Yep, and you can see all the sites available in IIS. Let's do it just on the tutorial one. Website tutorial. Yeah, that's fine. Continue. There's a few keys here that needs to be put in. Unique phrase used to strengthen your password should contain. Let's just put the same as you. Let's just continue with that. You should put in a unique phrase, but we're going to skip that. So now it's just configuring and installing WordPress. And you can see here, MySQL on, PHP on. You have to have PHP as well for WordPress to run. So we've got everything on there. Excellent. Let's finish that. It's actually trying to go to tutorial.wittems.co.uk, and here is the default WordPress wizard. Let's just go English United States. Is that English UK? Yeah, that is. Let's go English UK. Okay, we'll just give it a name. Put the same username as I've used before. Keep the password the same. Very weak. Oh dear. confirm the user weak password. Now, as you can see here, we can set for search engines not to find your websites as well. You might be using it for internal functions within an organization, and you don't want it to appear in search engines for just for the use of your internal organization. And you need an email of where all the admin email is going to go for this website. Must provide email. Okay, let's open it. Just put that one down. .net on that. And we'll try to install it. Yeah, let's store it. Okay, and there we go. It's as simple as that. So if we log in now, so we should be able to log in with Unite and the password, and this should take us to the dashboard, the administration dashboard for WordPress. Okay, in here we can use WordPress to create a website. You can use lots of different themes and plugins, appearances. It's basically create a very simple website, very straightforward to use. But I'm not going to go into much detail on that, so we're just going to finish the tutorial now. So let's go out of here. Okay, so we're just going to put our URL in, and it should take us to the WordPress website that we've just created, and there it is, just another WordPress site. Now this is just very basic, just right out the box WordPress. If you want to then change anything, you can just go WP admin. It should ask you for the username and password, and it does, and it's the one that we set before. I'm not going to go over anything within WordPress in this tutorial. I could go over it in another tutorial. Okay, just to finish off, we'll just have a look at our to-do list. So you can see we have gone into our domain name and configured it, and we installed MySQL at the same time as WordPress, really, so that was done, and additionally the WordPress installation was done as well. There is a few other things you could do. You can install a GUI interface to work on the MySQL database instead of just doing it in command line. And also there's a lot more detail to go through how to use a WordPress website and to set one up with different themes. But we'll cover those in other tutorials. But hopefully that will give you maybe confidence to set up a web server. And obviously I've just set up one site on my web server, but that server that we created there, we could host multiple sites. You could host 30, 40, 50, 60 websites on that server. So you might think, oh, I'm paying quite a lot for Azure, but if you're hosting multiple websites, then it's not too bad. Okay, diolch yn fawr iawn.